the meeting of the Board of Education at 6:31. And Dr. Hart Rodas lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Looks like everybody's here. We met in closed session and we have nothing to report out. Up next is we have maybe, let's see, was there any discussion about any presentations or anything? Okay, we'll move on to entertain a motion of the approval of the minutes. One motion, please, on the June 24th.
Board President Hammond, I'm sorry, could you move the mic a little closer to you?
Sorry?
Thank you.
No one's ever asked me to speak up before. That's at your own peril. May we take get approval of the minutes for June 24th and 25th on one motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Ms. Becerra, will you please call the roll?
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Hammond?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. I'm going to go to the podium because I'm going to talk about a friend of mine right now. And this is his other duties as assigned. So. This evening, we have an opportunity to recognize a very hardworking person who is in our community. And when you talk about it taking a village, in this case, it took not only a village, it took that village many years to be able to get to where we are this evening. And when we were talking about how to do the presentation and to acknowledge the depth of work that had taken place in order for this to happen, it means that you have to step back in time in history for a moment so that you can see exactly how much work took place in order to get us to what we're going to be celebrating this evening. When I held a different position in this city, they had a thing called the Workforce Investment Board. And at best, it was a gratuitous organization whose responsibility was to give out unsharpened pencils to people and be at different functions and use words that they didn't know the meaning to, which was try to find jobs for people. They did not, it's true. They did not get one person a job. And at the whole time that this was going on, we were struggling trying to figure out how to get the youth in our community jobs. And it was very, very difficult because here was an organization whose only purpose in life was to help find people work. And when we started the YES program, which was a youth employment service here in the community, I thought that the Workforce Investment Board was the perfect organization to help fund this, as we were going to be putting youth to work, giving them their first job, showing them what it took to get those first jobs through interviews, through applications and everything. For that, we got 2 new cases of brand new unsharpened pencils, but absolutely no help, and that was it. And we moved forward. Then a bright shining light happened. I got off that previous position I used to have, and a bright shining light got on. And when that bright shining light came on to the city council, one of the first things he got involved in was the Workforce Investment Board, and saw the ineffectiveness of this body and their inability to outreach to the community, and particularly the youth in this community, so that they would be able to find jobs. And Larry Spicer, Councilman Larry Spicer, set all these chains of events into motion. So, and this was years ago, 5, 6 years, post-COVID. And in the midst of it, working with the folks that we have over at Adult Education, found that the only way that we were going to be effective is that we removed our relationship away from the Workforce Investment Board and invested in a whole nother organization whose goal was to make sure that people had jobs and the ability to get them. And that's what we're celebrating tonight. But we're celebrating a person who, with dogged determination, never let it go, and had not only the fortitude, but had the time and determination to make sure that it never, ever lost the focus. And so I'd like to ask Councilman Larry Spicer to come up to site, please. When we talk about our partnership between the city and the schools, and whoever's doing the talking, it's either city and schools or schools and city. When we talk about our partnership, this is a truly collaborative partnership because it benefits our entire community, but it also benefits the people who are in our school system. Larry, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for never giving up, because what you accomplished in making sure that this gets done is going to be rewarding this community for years after you are no longer serving. And that is the measure of a successful program. Thank you so much, Larry, for getting us where we are today.
I appreciate it, Mr. Hammond.
We have a little thing. Let's get a picture first. You know, we're in the
Okay.
government. We got to get
All
a
right.
picture. Come. Hey, everybody come up if you can. And then we'll have you talk.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. Board President Hammond, School Board, Superintendent Dr. Hart Rodas, and the school cabinet. I'm honored to receive this recognition for helping launch a new affiliate that connects Monrovia area job seekers, students, and businesses to a full spectrum of employment, training, and support services. It's a big thank you to the Monrovia School Board for believing in this vision. Special shout outs to my partners in crime, Flint and John, whose leadership made this possible. Flint brought the strategy, John brought the muscle. And I just try not to mess things up. Together, we're building bridges to an opportunity without hard hats. And I just want to thank you, and the journey continues. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at the grand opening.
See you in the morning.
Right? In the morning. Yeah, you're right. But thank you guys so much. It's been a journey, and Rob, you know a Wildcat never gives up. So that's
Amen.
why 6 years, it was worth it. It was really worth it. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate this.
Thank you, Larry.
And Councilman Spicer, I know that some of our other board members would like to say some words for you, and I know that Mr. Fertig and Mr. Russell have some things they'd like to share as well.
Thank you so much. I had some words that I was going to share, but I first have to tell you a story, Mr. Spicer. My girls came home from the first day of school today, like everybody's kids did today. And there was a get to know you sort of icebreaker in one of the girls' classes. And they had to say something interesting about themselves. And they said, "I know really important people in government." You know who said that? And apparently her classmates said, "Oh, really? Who?" And she said, "I know Mr. Spicer." And I also get to be here. We all get to be here at this really important moment and witness it. It's a very important thing that you've done. And it's such an honor to be able to witness it. And for the community, Mr. Spicer started talking to me about this. Yeah, it was about 6.5 years ago when I was brand new on the board and I was still overwhelmed by acronyms. So he'd call me up and say the AJCC this and the LMNOP that and all of these acronyms that were absolutely undecipherable to me. But he was as passionate 6.5 years ago as he is right at this moment. And it was his passion and his dedication and his hard work and relentless. It never stopped. It was just as much energy 6.5 years ago as it is today and as it will be tomorrow. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and for showing my kids and this entire community what dedication is and what service is, right? You've come and spoken to my Girl Scouts about service. You are a representation of what service is. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Mr. Spicer.
Larry, Councilman Spicer, and friend, thank you for everything that you do for this district. You are our #1 partner, and if I could say fan, #1 fan of this school district. So many things have happened over the years because of you, because of your connections, because of the relationships, because of your status as an alumni, Wildcat forever, right? One of my very first events, newly sworn in board member, still learning my role, was to attend the grand opening of the new weightlifting room over at the high school that you had a lot to do with in coordinating. And so many things since then. And this relationship you have with the adult school has been priceless. So thank you for everything that you've done over the years and that you still do.
15 years ago, I first met Mr. Spicer. I'm starting to hit that age where I can say 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And you were I played football and baseball and basketball with Mr. Spicer's son, and you were a towering figure in the best of ways. You were a source of strength, of encouragement to your son, to his teammates, in a way that was inspiring. I just want to say that you are a man of faith in the best of ways. You have faith in your higher power. You have faith in your neighbors, and you have faith that better things are possible if we work hard for them. And you are an institution in this community. And it's an honor to know you, and it's an honor to serve with you. When I was first appointed to this role, Mr. Spicer called me up and he said, find your voice and listen to it, and have faith that you were called to this moment and to this space. And I go back to those words often. And in many ways, they were words that I needed to hear. It's scary to step into this role. And you were one of the first people that made me feel like I could. So I just want to thank you, and I give you your flowers, and I honor you, sir.
Point, would you like to come on up? You know, Flint's always short for some words.
I promise to be very brief. Something that Board Member Lockerbie said, that this was special. There's a lot of things that happened. She said, but she's right. This was special. And Board President Hammond, you said that what happened is going to serve this community for years to come. Both of those are true. There's a lot of things that we accomplished, but we are really, truly at this really moment in time where it's important, I think, to recognize, take a snapshot of this. This is magnificent, and it will stand the test of time and be here serving our children and hopefully our children's children throughout the years as an institution that continues to help this community thrive. My dad used to say, when you're riding high and you're on the top of a wave, always look down and see the shoulders of the giants that you're standing on. And I think our school and our community, we're in a great place because of this. And when I look down at the shoulders that we're standing on to get us to this point, our school specifically is a reflection of this community, this school board, this school district, its leadership. This high mountain that we're looking up on is because we're standing on shoulders of giants. And Larry, no one stands taller than you, and grateful to be part of the team honoring you today.
You know, people talk about being the right person on the right bus in the right seat. Larry, you were the man for the time, and you did not disappoint. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it so very, very much. Thank you. I'd like to recognize another councilman here in the room, Sergio Jimenez, who is here acting as photographer. and your family and everybody. Most importantly, it doesn't happen that the two bodies work so collaboratively. It's because of your efforts as well as the rest of the city council. This is most appreciated, and we are truly going to be the beneficiaries for a long time. Appreciate it. Next up, we have board member reports. And Daniel.
Thank you, Board President Hammond. I quickly wanted to well, first off, welcome everybody back from a wonderful summer, and welcome to the new school year. It's going to be a fun one. But I deeply wanted to thank the parents and guardians who entrust us with the privilege of teaching your little ones, your most precious gift, entrusting us to allow them to grow into the meaningful individuals that they are capable of one day becoming. So thank you all for allowing us to work magic alongside your children. Thank you.
Mrs. Lockerbie.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to talk about one of our legacy oaks in front of the high school that we had to take down. And I wanted to say goodbye to the tree. And I wanted to find a quote from John Muir or Shakespeare or Stevie Wonder about an oak tree, and I just can't find one. But I know the feeling that is in everyone's heart that has known this tree for as old as it is. How old was that tree? Does anybody know? 50 years, 100 years? 146 years. So, and I wanted to let the community know that we have been watching these trees for many years. and we have had many specialists come and look at it, and we have known that this particular tree wasn't going to survive, and we did all that we could with the situation that it was in because of just issues that we didn't know about the irrigation, and it's not we, this board, it's many generations ago that just didn't understand about the irrigation. So I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the tree for giving us so much for 146 years. And if you notice in that third picture, a giant piece of the trunk is on a trailer, and it's being shipped to, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that our partners Amigos de los Rios has found a workman who is going to turn pieces of that oak into memorable pieces for us in the district. I don't know if there'll be benches or placards or whatever they will be, but that oak will always stay with us. And also, we continue to have arborists and specialists looking at all of the rest of the oak trees that are there to make sure that they're in good care. We now know how to better take care of these oaks. And again, our partnership with Amigos de los Rios has replanted trees so that there will be a new legacy there to replace this oak tree, and the other oak trees, as I understand it, are going to be okay. And if you see any of the orange fencing or anything like that out in front of this school, that's because we're changing our irrigation so that we don't have these problems anymore with the rest of the oaks that are out in front of the tree. So if you can think of a fantastic quote about an oak tree, please have that right now, and please know that we are very concerned and very careful about the landscaping in front, and we're moving forward, and I appreciate it. So that's all that I wanted to say for my board report today.
Thank you. Maritza.
Thank you, President Hammond. Good evening. First, I want to welcome everybody back. It was great to see students and families this morning with big smiles and taking pictures in front of their schools. As a school board member, I want to address a concern that weighs heavily on me and our community: the possibility of immigration officials coming to a school. I want to assure you our district has clear procedures in place, and our superintendent, Dr. Hart Rodas, has ensured our staff is trained in how to respond if there should be an incident. These protocols are designed to protect the rights and safety of every student. Schools are and must remain safe havens for learning. We are committed to creating an environment where all students feel secure, respected, and able to focus on their education without fear. We will continue to stand by our students and their families, and we will always uphold our responsibility to provide a safe and welcoming place for every child who walks through our doors. We are more than a school district. We are a community that stands together. And as long as I serve on this board, we will work to ensure our schools remain a place where every student knows they belong. And Dr. Hart Rodas, I would like you to issue a new communication to staff as a refresher to the protocols and ensure all new staff receive the protocols and procedures. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you for that. Up next, we have the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, Madam Vice President, Dr. Jones and I have already been discussing getting that once we got today up and rolling. So, Ruben, we're on it, right? We're good. Today is the first day of school, and it is my favorite day. I'm sure Mr. Racone was shocked when I ran through the cheer tunnel at MHS this morning. I like a crazy person because it is just my favorite day of the year. It was just being with the kids, seeing their faces, seeing no elementary kids crying. They're just like, okay, bye. The moms are crying, the dads are crying, the kids are like, bye. It was just such a fun thing to do. I told Leanna I would be back here at 9:30. I came back at 12, just because it was so wonderful. Hearing the stories from the principals and talking to teachers and office managers about how wonderful and so smooth everything went this morning. I'm just so proud of our teams and how well they were ready to receive everyone. This morning there were hiccups, of course, but everybody just rolled with it and got people in classes, and I couldn't have been more proud of everyone on all of our sites, from every department, from every school. We made it happen, and every day you amaze me, and I'm so proud of you, and it's such a great place to be, and I'm thankful. So happy first day of school. 179 more to go. The other thing I want to share with you, and Leanna's going to flip over, you might have noticed, when you picked up, or last week when you clicked on, that our board agenda looks just a smidge different. Last year, the board was gracious enough to grant us the opportunity to switch to a different platform, which is, for our staff, so much better. And you are going to find actually much more user-friendly for you. When you go to the website, under Board of Education, meeting, agenda, and minutes, that's the same. But unlike before, where it would just give you this crazy list and you would have to dig out a PDF, now you'll click where it says Access Gamut here. That will take you to a list also. Right now there's one, because that's today. But when you click on it, it now brings you a large, interactive, very easy to navigate. Here's the agenda, all the attachments, not two different PDFs. Which one do I open? Is it the agenda? Is it the packet? Where do I find what I'm looking for? You can go right to the piece you need, and it will just always be there. Everything's linked, so much easier. So I hope you find it more helpful. If it's confusing, and I'm not lying, call Joy, make an appointment. I'll walk you through it. It's so easy. I'm happy to do it. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew how to do it. It's really not hard. I know it's scary when things change, but it's actually really, really easy. And I'm not kidding. If you want me to sit with you and walk you through it, I'm happy to do so. But it's really easy. But it looks different for sure. Even the font is a different kind of font, which when she printed it, I had my moment. I said, it's different. And I had to say, it's okay. We're good. So be aware it's different, but we're going to be okay. And it's super easy. And bonus for my board members, the pages are numbered when we print it. That is so important. So it's a little different. It's better. I'm happy to help if you need anything. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you very much.
President Hammond, can I ask a quick question about the agenda? Dr. Hart-Rodas, is the archival information still available in the old platform, or how does one look to a year ago type?
We still
agendas?
have everything. Where, Miss Becerra? We do have it. I don't remember how we stored it though on the website. It's archived.
'Cause I know that question will come up.
Yes, archived meetings.
Okay.
It's just hard for her to get to it on the little tiny screen there. One more down.
Okay, I
archived.
see the archived meetings
It's
there.
just, she's having trouble with the screen resolution.
Okay. Looks like there's an option at the bottom there. Uh-huh.
It's
Okay, at the
yeah,
very bottom.
It's
Okay.
there. It's
All right.
just because of her screen resolution to be able to.
Perfect.
There we go. So
Excellent.
goes.
All right. Thank you.
yes, there it is. No, there it is. So there's the old ones from the old program platform. So those ones you still have to pick through the old stuff, but it's there.
Thank you very much. Up next is public comment. please fill out a speaker card and give it to Ms. Becerra, and you will be called up. Right now, ask Ms. Becerra if we have any public comments for items that are not on the agenda.
Yes, I would like to call Catherine Vasquez to the podium.
Good evening, Board President and Board members. My name is Catherine Vasquez, and I'm the Water Resources Analyst for the Upper San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District, also known as Upper Water. I'm here today to provide you with a brief overview of Upper Water and to share resources available to your teachers and students as we begin the new year, or the new school year. Upper Water is the regional water wholesaler for 18 cities and 26 retailers across the San Gabriel Valley. Our primary responsibility is to provide imported water to the region while promoting sustainable solutions that help our communities use water efficiently. We operate as a member agency of the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California and are governed by a 5-member elected board of directors. Our board vice president, Dr. Anthony Fellow, proudly represents the city of Monrovia along with the surrounding cities. Upper Water is committed to educating youth about water conservation and by developing programs that increase students' water knowledge through creative, hands-on activities and science-based curriculum. Now I'd like to talk about the educational programs and resources we have available for your teachers and students. Our efforts include the Water Education Grant Program, where teachers can apply for up to $1,000 for K-12 grade classroom or school projects that will help students have a better understanding of water and the important role it plays in Southern California. Our grant applications will open in late August, probably in the next couple of weeks, early September. The Discovery Cube in Santa Ana offers free water education assembly presentations to K to 7th grade classes within our service area. We also provide transportation grants to cover bus travel and museum admission costs. The program runs all year round. Our watershed restoration program, in partnership with the U.S. Forest Service, welcomes volunteers of all ages to plant trees or participate in trash cleanups in the San Gabriel Mountains. During these activities, participants learn the importance of protecting our local watershed, and students may earn community service hours. Our 2 events will be held on Saturday, October 18th and November 8th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Our Being Water Wise is Student Art Contest is an annual program inviting K through 12th grade students to create artwork that delivers a water conservation message and reminds us of the importance of protecting water in our communities. The contest will reopen in late December to early January 2026. And lastly, the Metropolitan Water District has created the Water Engineering for Good program, which is an online STEAM competition for middle school through high school students. Teams are mentored by water industry professionals to create physical models of their engineering projects, and this will open in early fall of this year. So before I leave, I'll leave some flyers for you about our educational programs and resources along with my business cards. And please feel free to visit our website to get the latest updates on our programs. And I know you mentioned something about irrigation and landscaping, so if you do have questions about that, you'll have my information in the packet. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Vasquez, I had a couple of questions. Would you mind? Well, first of all, can you make sure to get your speech and all of your information also to our superintendent?
Yes.
So that, can you distribute that out to all
Absolutely.
of our sites?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I was wondering, so are you in the office that's just right next to Clifton?
Yes.
I think I recall that you have another office where you can have tours, where kids can tour. Is that maybe the Metropolitan Water District downtown?
Possibly, yes. Right now, we can do tours for children.
It's like a field trip sort of thing?
Yeah, and depending what you want to do, then we can coordinate something for the teachers or the students.
Great. I'd love that information also to get out to our teachers.
Sure.
It's really exciting. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here
Of course.
tonight.
Thank you.
I would like to now call Karen DeClue to the podium, please.
Thank you.
Board President Hammond, members of the board, Superintendent Hart-Rodas, cabinet, and members of the community. My name is Karen DeClue, and I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of MHS Aquatic and Monrovia High School Aquatic Facility. As we all remember, our pool has been unusable and safety code violations for the last 10 months. While we debate our options for repairing, renovating, or completely replacing the aquatic center, the aquatics programs at MHS have suffered enduring inconvenient practice times, dwindling interest due to cumbersome busing schedules, and inconsistent coaching. None of this is the fault of anybody in this room. I wholeheartedly believe that, and I have really appreciated that Monrovia High School and the district has made the choice to continue aquatics programming despite these challenges. I think it would have been easy to just kind of throw in the towel on it, and I really appreciate that we've made the effort to find, between YMCA and now Citrus College, I hear, an option for our swimmers. The MHS, they found the best possible way. Regardless, I think we all agree that the current situation is not tenable and should be resolved with a more long-term solution as quickly as possible. Which brings me to my point. I was thrilled when the school district moved so quickly to enter a contract with Little Diversified Architects to come up with a long-term solution back in the spring. That was supposed to be ready late May. In late May, I was here at the meeting when we kind of heard the explanation as to why it was being pushed to late June. Fine. But you can imagine my dismay and all of my anticipation when I saw the board meeting agenda for this meeting to see that we would not be seeing those design options tonight. Let's see. I imagine that there has been some back and forth between the district and the architect group. I imagine there have been discussions regarding why the designs are not ready to be presented. I'm sure you all know I have been sitting on the edge of my seat waiting to see this. I am filled with a lot of curiosity, and I hope that these pool design discussions will be agendized and discussed publicly soon in the name of transparency. I will be waiting with bated breath. I'm very curious to see it, and I know many others are as well. So with that in mind, please also know that there is significant public support for seeing some Measure MM money go as seed money towards these new aquatic design options, the long-term plan being developed in a transparent forum with opportunities for public input, the continuance of aquatic sports at MHS, which I've really appreciated. And personally, what I would love to see most is to see our school district and city council working together on this. We don't live in a town big enough to have a high school pool and a municipal pool. It seems inevitable that they will have to be one and the same, and I would love to see that collaboration reflected in future meetings. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I would like to call Melissa Taylor to the podium, please.
Hello, everyone. On one note, I'm going to say I love Gamut, and it was very fun for me last night and get everything. But that's not why I'm here. So thank you, Board President Hammond, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Hart-Rodas, cabinet, and members. I am here tonight because Karen has mentioned it had been said that there would be a design for the potential upgrades to the pool would be available. And now here we are in August with no information for a design. I spent the last 8 weeks talking to people in the community at pools or getting together, and they were completely unaware of the situation that's going on with the pool. I've talked to elderly people in the community who don't want to have to go to the YMCA or go to Duarte. I've talked to high schoolers who would love to learn how to be lifeguards right here. I've talked to swimmers who are in who to a program. This is something that we have mentioned that can be paid for with Measure M money. We know that this money cannot be used on personnel or teachers. It's a facility upgrade. It has been brought to your attention over the past year several times that if we build a pool and they are built to appropriate standards, they can be rented out for thousands of dollars for tournaments on the weekend, which is putting money back into our pockets. It can be used for interested, equitable investment. Boys and girls water polo, boys and girls swimming, diving, whatever you name it, it's not a one-size-fits-all. If we don't act soon, we could potentially lose the opportunity for money that Congresswoman Chu had brought to our attention. This is something, and in the long run, if we don't invest in something like this, we will lose out financial gains if we invest in this opportunity.
Thank you.
There are no more public comments for items not on the agenda.
Thank you. Any public comments for items on the agenda?
Not at this time. There will be one after the FICMAP presentation.
Okay, anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone else wishing to speak to the board on any item that is on or off the agenda? Seeing and hearing none, we'll close the public comment period and proceed to staff presentations. First up is Measure MM bond financing and Dr. Giroux.
Thank you, Board President Hammond. I'm going to call up here representing Fieldman Roll-Up and Associates. Jason Chung will be sharing some information to provide information to the board about municipal updates and the status of our bonds, not just Measure MM, but previous bonds as well, to help guide decision-making moving forward. Welcome.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Giroux, and good evening, board members. Tonight, I'll be giving a brief information-only presentation on the district's Measure MM bond program. This is a very similar format to what the board was shown on the June 2nd meeting. And if we go to the next slide, first I'll start with another quick update on the market and where interest rates are. And if you were looking to buy a home or a car, then your rate would be tracked towards that 10-year treasury. However, for municipal bonds, which is what Measure MM allows for, we track an index called Municipal Market Data, or the acronym MMD. And so the bottom left chart shows that MMD has 30 different rates for each year, 1 through 30. And the gray bars show both the lowest range and the highest range point in time over the last 20 years. And so back during COVID in 2020 and 2021, you had a 30-year borrowing rate that was probably around 1.25%, super low rates at that time. But there have also been points in time when that 30-year rate was as high as 6%. And so when we show the red horizontal line, this is what we call the yield curve. And it shows where each individual rate was as of July 30th. And they've improved a little bit since then, since July 30th. However, if you're borrowing for 1 year, for example, you could probably achieve a rate of 2.4%. If you were borrowing out for 30 years, you could probably achieve a rate closer to 4.6%. So again, we're not at the historically low levels that we saw back in 2021, but it's still considered a decent time. We're nowhere near the all-time rates that we were in the past. The chart on the right shows what the Federal Open Market Committee has been doing. And so for most of 2024, it was pretty much status quo until September. And then most recently in December 2024, they reduced the federal funds rate by 25 basis points. And that's interpreted as 0.25%. And so we're now just sitting in a range of 4.25% to 4.5%. They did meet again at the end of July. They decided to hold rates. But then that following Friday, August 1st, jobs report came in very terribly, and it just showed signals of a weakening in the labor force. And so that brought the market to really expect the first rate cut in probably a few years of at least 25 basis points, potentially 50 basis points. And so what that means for the market is investors, they build that expectation of a future rate decrease into today's rates. And so rates have already, as I mentioned, started to trickle down a little bit since this July 30th timeframe. Based on our calendar, the earliest potential date we would be looking to price your bonds would be mid-October. So we do have the benefit of seeing what the Fed does at its next September meeting when it's expected to lower those rates. And slide 3 shows the district's historical assessed value since 1996. And this is the taxable value in the district. Again, not market value, which is often a higher figure due to Prop 13. But assessed value is what determines how much your Measure MM bonds cost your taxpayers each year. And so, of course, we want to be as conservative as we can. We want your actual growth in the area to be higher than what we projected for your bonds. And so we projected 4% per year. You can see the past few years you've outperformed that. A few days ago, actually, Los Angeles County just released fiscal year 2026 data. That increase came in at 5.21%. So another year that you've outperformed your 4% projection. I would assume when tax bills go out this upcoming October, the rate for Measure MM will again be well below that $30 tax rate promise. On slide 4 shows the district's outstanding bonds currently being repaid, totaling just over $48 million. On the far right column are what's known as call dates, and 4 of these bonds do not have the option to refinance. We call them non-callable. However, the 2 bond issues at the bottom, those are actually your largest bond amounts when you go by principal amount outstanding, and fortunately, those are the 2 bonds that you do have that ability to refinance in the future. I highlighted that 2015 bond in blue to note that that refinancing window actually opened up a few days ago, August 1. So you do have that ability to refinance and lower tax rates for taxpayers if it's economically beneficial to do so. And since we're already considering looking at the next draw of Measure MM, there's a lot of economic benefits to combining a refunding with a new money issuance. You save on district staff time, you also save on issuance costs. These next 2 slides cover your 2 prior measures, so I'll go over them quickly. But 1997 measure authorized $34 million. There's only about 8 more years left of payments on this bond, and so this one will fall off the tax rate after August 1, 2033, and the only bonds left will be your Measure M bonds and your Measure MM bonds. So again, only 8 years of payments. 2006 Measure M authorized $45 million. To pass these types of bonds, you need at least 55% voter support. 67.11% was achieved almost 19 years ago. Very strong level of support. And this is the authorization where your 2015 bonds are tied to. So if you were to give the finance team authorization to move forward with the refinancing transaction, and we were to complete that refinancing, you would see these dark green bars just get a little bit lower and that's reflective of the tax rate savings that's achieved from that refinancing. And finally, we get to our 2022 Measure MM authorization. This approved a total of $75 million of bonds. Another high approval rate, 62.5%. And only 1 series of bonds have been sold to date. Those are your dark solid green bars that reach about $25 per 100,000, and then they ratchet down to $10 starting next year. And that's done with intention because we know that likely the next draw of Measure MM will be coming and be sold. And so the county has actually levied for these orange bars, your Series B bonds, to make sure that you have a consistent revenue stream available to repay the next series of bonds. And so the current plan is we're looking at a not to exceed par amount of roughly $22 million. That can definitely be changed by the time we come next to your board for consideration of approval. And then the current plan is to issue about every 3 years. There's that expectation to spend about 85% of the proceeds. And so, again, this is set up to be a conservative projection. We have the 4% assessed value future escalator built in there, and you've historically outperformed that. You've been about 5.25% to 5.5%. So should that trend continue, you'd likely be able to find yourself in a position to access the remaining $17 million and $17.25 million of bonds on an earlier time frame if you'd like. And finally, we close with the schedule. Again, tonight is just the information only piece. And then September 10th, that is the date when we would be looking to bring 2 resolutions back to this board. One would be for the second series of Measure MM bonds. The second would be to consider allowing the finance team to also move forward with the refinancing bonds. So again, just approving these bonds does not require the finance team to move forward. It just gives the authorization. So for example, if the market moved away from us for whatever reason in October, the refinancing doesn't make sense, we could just move forward with the new money piece. Should we get approval on that September 10th date, that would allow the finance team to meet with the credit rating agencies on the week of September 22nd, receive the rating just before the county board has to consider their consent agenda, lock in your rates mid-October, and have funds delivered to the district 2 days before Halloween. So I went through that pretty quickly. I understand you've been through that before, but I wanted to cover it in detail. But thank you for your time and available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for that. Appreciate you being here with us tonight. Speaking on the callable balances, are you able to tell us what those rates currently are?
Yes, so the 2015 bonds carry an existing rate of 4.6%, And based on current estimates as of a few days ago, you'd be able to refinance that from a 4.6 to about a 2.4%. So again, yeah, the savings were pretty nice there. I don't have the 2023 Series A on top of my hand because we're not able to refinance that for another 6 or 7 years.
Perfect. Thank you.
So thank you so much for being here this evening. So I also have questions about the refinancing. And basically I want to know what that would look like from our perspective. So I see for the potential next steps, I see you have a calendar laid out and where we could potentially review that. Is that something that your firm would meet with us? Your firm meets with our CBO? How does that information get to us so that we can make an informed decision?
So before we're allowed to move forward with actually even locking in your rates, we would have to have the board approve the resolution at that September 10th meeting. Very much similar resolution to the Measure MM bond. At that September 10th meeting, I'm assuming either my boss, Mr. Bauer, who was here at June 2nd, or myself will be here again before the board. We'd likely show you a progression of how the projected savings have looked since we first looked at this, I think, at the beginning of the year. And fortunately, it's been higher and higher ever since. So you have that kind of information to take with in your back pocket. But then also, if you are able to give us the approval to move forward, the resolution will have in there minimum thresholds that we need to meet in order to move forward with the refinancing. Just because you allow us to move forward with the refunding resolution doesn't give us the ability to refinance if we just get any positive savings. There's certain thresholds in there, and we can work with Dr. Giroux to make sure those are suitable for the board's needs.
Thank you. And then my final question on that is, I'm sorry, this probably doesn't sound like, probably sounds like a dumb question.
No.
But if we were to refinance and so we're saving money, where does that saved money go? Mm-hmm. Does it go in the general fund or does it go into the bond?
Yeah, very good question.
Kitty?
So per state law, any savings from a general obligation bond cannot go towards district general funds. They have to go towards the taxpayers, and they will receive that in a lower tax bill for however long the original bond lasts for.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Thank you, and that was a good question. Trying to follow like the sequence of the actions. So the Federal Reserve is not due to release the next interest rates till September 16th or 17th. Our meeting is on September 10th, and you're asking us then to have a resolution to adopt moving forward. And I said, I know you said we can establish thresholds, but to me, some of these decisions are based on what that next interest rate looks like. So how do we deal with that if our meeting is on the 10th, but they're not going to release the interest rates till the 16th or 17th?
Yeah, again, I wish we could have a crystal ball, definitely, but there are definitely, as I mentioned before, a lot of people expect the rate cut to happen in September, and so that expectation.
That's what they're speculating, right?
Right. That's and things could change, and things could go better or worse for the interest rate market. And so what that resolution authorizing resolution really does, it just gives us the flexibility to move forward with that. So if you're concerned about the interest rate market totally tanking after this Fed meeting, we can take direction from Dr. Giroux and not move forward with the refinancing at all. So you've approved a resolution.
So we can pull it.
Correct.
We still have the authority
Yes.
to pull it. Okay.
That's right.
All right. Make sure that we're not locked in.
Two questions, please. On the $22 million for the next draw, what is the anticipated cost per 100,000?
So if you go to the previous page, the orange bars will be that projected cost per 100,000. So I'm going to try to do my best to eyeball, but starting 5/26, when those tax bills come out in a few months, that's going to be low because your Series A bonds are already costing projected about $25. This Series B will only be about $4, I'm guessing, per 100,000 just for next year. Starting in October 2026 for the 26-27 fiscal year, that cost will be increased to about $20 per 100,000, and then it will drop again in year 2029 to roughly, let's say, $8-9 per 100,000 to make room for a third series of Measure M bonds.
Okay. What I wanted to do is articulate that we are not bumping up against that $30 per 100,000. There's a name for it now. It's a go, no-go. It's a no-go to
Right.
get to more than $30.
Right. If we look at how they've articulated the graph as the solid green bars move down and the orange ones come in, and then the blue and the purple for the subsequent pieces, that big red line across the top is their go, no-go line of the $30, and they're accounting for the add-in of each of the subsequent pieces to keep us under that $30 threshold.
Every time we have a conversation about the money, it always gets to, we're going to try to keep, no, we're not going to try to keep under 30. We're going to keep under 30. That's the key. That is what we committed to the community, was 30, and it's more than a try.
And the 2 years since Measure MM has passed, you've definitely kept that promise. You've been well below 30.
And the other question is, how often can you refi?
Realistically, every 10 years. And so you see 2015 refunding has a call date in 2025. The Series A bonds of Measure MM issued in 2023 have a call date of 2033. So roughly every 10 years you have that option. I want to point out, though, the 2015 refunding was a prior refunding itself. And so this actually refinanced Series A and B bonds of your 2006 Measure M. And so what's unique about municipal bond refinancing is you cannot extend the term, the original term. And so we're not for a new 30-year rate. These bonds will end no matter what in year 2031. So we're refinancing 15-year rates because this was issued in 2015. It pays off in 2031. We're refinancing 15-year rates with 5-year debt. And that's what makes the economics of the refinancing work.
It's truly a savings to the taxpayer.
That's correct, yeah.
With no extra burden.
And the taxpayers don't have to apply for anything. It's an automatic reduction.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, just a clarifying question with the process. We do have 2 board members on this board that were not part of the original conversations with the school bond. So we're all refreshing ourselves on the process, and then a couple are learning the process. So next meeting, or September 10th meeting, there's going to be a resolution. Part of this resolution, are we identifying the amount of the next draw? Is that, because this board has not had this discussion yet of what the amount is for that next draw, nor the priorities that we want around that next draw. So when does that happen?
That would be the September 10th meeting where we would be looking for a not to exceed number to draw from Measure MM. So we can apply as that not to exceed, but we can also go at any number below that.
Okay, all right. So that's coming at us.
We need to have staff schedule something, call it a study session. I shudder to say the words, whatever that word is.
A workshop. Dr. Giroux, but Dixon is bringing their suggested priorities, correct?
Yeah, I believe that's the case for the August
27th
27th meeting. That would provide an opportunity to discuss that.
for you to discuss. However, if you would like an additional session on top of that, we can coordinate that.
Is that at the next board meeting?
Yes.
So the next board meeting, Dixon is going to give us his suggestions on the items that we should work on next and the cost associated with that? Or just the items and then your firm provides the cost? How does that work?
If I may, I think it was supposed to be because we have things that interact with each other. So since we're looking towards going towards the single point of entry, all the elements that would make the single point of entries happen would then be included in what the next bond sale would be. It would be the completion of the safety measures that are currently in place. And then it would be, depending how much money would be left over, in that availability for purchasing those bonds, to look at other things. And I'm sure there'll be 3 or 4 different items, and the board would then say, of these 3 that are available, we would prioritize 1, 2, and 3, and it would be based upon where they were in the facilities needs book that said these are the highest priority ones that were going to be needed to be addressed.
Now, we previously talked about several of those items, right? Was that at our June?
Yes, correct. If I could, just to recap from June, from information that had been brought from Dixon around, as Mr. Hammond had said, fire, life, safety, access, right? Single point of entry, all of those pieces. And so you gave direction, and Dixon and their teams have spent time this summer surveying at all of the campuses, the condition of the fire system, fire alarms, the PAs, the bells, the, what am I missing? The clocks, the disability, the ADA access, and looking at the single point of entry and what would need to be done at all of those sites to secure that. And so what they will bring to us is their recommendations on the 27th of this month, is their recommendation for the order to pace to go through all of our school sites to address those pieces.
I would like to make sure that we as a board don't forget we still have properties that we have not put up the fences that separating the school from the sidewalk that should be addressed too.
And Dixon is aware of that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we sometimes you get, it's like, okay, we did the fencing. Well, we did the fencing for the elementaries, but we still have others to do. And there's going to be talk this whole next year about, what happens with a campus in our district.
Correct.
And you don't probably want to spend a whole lot of money doing something that can be diverted for a little while. All those things come into play. That's all I'm saying.
There are many, many spinning plates right this moment.
Good, everybody? Thank you very much. Appreciate the overview.
Good evening.
Dr. Drew, I'm going to call on you, please, to make the introduction to the presenter, please.
Thank you, Board President Hammond. Back in January of 2025, the board approved an agreement with the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team, or FCMAT, which is a California public agency. And FCMAT, I think it's important to share with the public too, it's a crisis, they do address fiscal crises, but they also support local education agencies in improving business practices, providing guidance on sound practices as well. So we invited FCMAT, the board invited FCMAT to take a look at our business services department to find ways that we can improve. Obviously, there has been a lot of turnover, so it was an opportunity to really learn from the experts at FCMAT and help provide a roadmap and prioritize what we can do to continue improving. And so that was the spirit of our partnership. Erin Lillibridge is an expert from FCMAT with lots of experience, and her team came in and did a thorough study. And part of what FCMAT does is they provide public reports, and so this is part of that, a public agency. So I'll hand it over to Erin. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Giroux, for that introduction. That saves me from having to go through the first part of my presentation. Thank you very much. Good evening, governing board members. Thank you for allowing me to come and present on our business services review. I do want to acknowledge my colleague who was with me, Maria Arias. She's not here tonight. She's a CBO in Bakersfield for the Kern County Superintendent of Schools. I didn't give you her exact title, but it's changed. So, but essentially, she has a ton of experience and was a huge part of this process. Between the two of us, we have close to 3 decades of experience working in K-12 education finance. including charter schools and school districts, county offices, and even the state of California for me. So as noted, we did enter into agreement in January of this year to review the Business Services Department's operational processes and procedures. We did have a little bit of delay with the wildfires, so normally we would have engaged sooner, but we did have to postpone it a bit. So we did start our work. Actually, we visited the district in mid-April, and we did finalize the report at the end of June. And I know that we all had busy summers, and so we're thankful to be here in August. And so it may feel a little out of date already, right? Things have already been happening, changes have been made. The gamut system is one that I've noted. That's awesome that you guys have implemented that. But essentially, this is what we were contracted to look at, the basic processes, the core responsibilities of a business services department for a school district. So those are the 6 areas that we focused on: budget development and monitoring, position control, payroll, accounts payable, and accounts receivable. So obviously, in a well-functioning business services office, we're looking for processes and procedures that almost disappear into the background, right? When they're working well, we don't hear a whole lot about everything, right? When things are not working well, that's when we start to hear things. So when we come in, we're basically looking for themes, right? And we also spend time asking a lot of questions about just how things work. And then we ask about, for those folks that aren't involved in the actual processes and procedures of the work, we ask them questions of, were you paid correctly? Have you ever heard of, any issues with, contractors not being paid on time, or whatever it may be? So that's sort of the way it works. And we did talk to close to 30 people over 2 days. So it is a pretty, short time frame that we're here. And we don't get a lot of time with everyone, right? But so we also do a lot of we ask for a lot of documentation, and we review that as well. And so I do really want to thank the Business Services Department, because that's not a small task to provide us with all of that information that we ask for, and also just the time that all of those folks took to sit with us and explain what they do and how they do it and why they do it. And also not just the business services, but all the other folks that we spoke to as well. We spoke to site administrators, department managers. We talked to a lot of folks. And so just again, want to just thank the district for the warmth and the welcoming nature, and also just the fact that folks were willing to share. Because we can only provide you a product that's meaningful when folks feel comfortable enough to share with us. And I think that speaks a lot to the culture of your district, that we were able to get a lot of great information, and folks were really honest and straightforward. So really and pleasant, really pleasant to be around and meet. So just want to thank you guys for that. So in general, we had some basic findings that we can apply to all 6 areas that we were looking at. One of the biggest, obviously, and it's probably not a surprise to you. I don't really think anyone in the board or the district office is surprised by these findings. You are well aware of the frequent turnover that you've had recently in key business services positions, not only in leadership, but actually in the business office. So pretty much everyone we spoke to was tenured for 2 years or less. And then even just speaking with other folks in the district in different departments and different leadership roles, most of them were new to their roles as well. So when we're in a smaller district like yours and we have that kind of turnover, it really does disrupt processes and procedures. And that does get magnified by the lack of written procedures, so that when new folks come in, they kind of have some framework to organize their work. A district of your size, you're not a large district, right? You're a smaller district. And so what ends up happening is you're still doing all the same tasks in a business office that a large district is, but those folks are have a lot more responsibilities on their plate than just one particular role. So when you lose someone, and there's not a lot of redundancy built in because you do have a smaller office. So when you lose someone, they take their all the eggs that they had in their basket and they take it with them. And so, and there's not necessarily another accounts payable clerk because you have 3 or 4 that can just pick up that additional load. So that's really been impactful here. So if you don't have those strong written procedures in place, that somebody that's new coming in at no fault of their own. In these times, what we're seeing a lot of districts having to do is hire folks that don't have experience in school districts, right, or new to their roles. And if they don't have a strong onboarding process, strong leadership, because you had turnover there as well, it definitely impacts, just the office culture and environment and processes and procedures and efficiencies. We definitely take a look at internal controls when we're doing our review. And so again, when we're talking about processes and procedures and new staff, and also the size of your district, right? So we don't have a huge business office. So we do have some folks that are involved in a transaction from beginning to end, like accounts receivable. So what is the district doing to insert those compensating controls, right? Because that's kind of a basic control in accounting, right? That we don't have one person that controls a transaction from beginning to end. So we're looking for those, and because of just the newness of your team, the lack of written policies and procedures, we did identify some areas that can be improved, and that includes inserting supervisory oversight as well. And so the other thing is just because you didn't have those folks on your team, the directors, the CBOs that were turning over, you did have to rely on external consultants, and so unfortunately, they're not paid to train your folks. They're not paid to build those processes and procedures. They're just getting the job done. So the amount of time that you have relied on those external consultants has really impacted all 6 of those areas. Okay. So those are kind of the basic findings. And then obviously the effect is that it does increase your risk for your fiscal stability. And obviously it raises questions about transparency and accuracy and those sorts of things. And that's just the nature of it, right? When you have a whole new team and they don't know the district. So I'm going to go through some of just higher level recommendations, kind of more contextual type of things, because the report is really specific. And I know it's longer, it's 40 pages, but it really speaks for itself. So I'm not going to go through every single one of the recommendations. And we also have quite a bit of appendices in there just to kind of jumpstart some changes if the district's interested. But essentially, starting with budget development, the key ones here is when you are developing a budget, you really do need to involve your site and department administrators in the process. And when you have an external consultant that's doing it, they're not as invested in what's actually happening at the district. They're trying to get the work done for you, so that wasn't happening. So basically we're looking for that involvement, or recommendations revolve around that. And also just, basic tools like a budget calendar that organizes the process, right? So that you start to have the systems exist outside of your CBO. If the CBO leaves, there's a calendar. People understand how the process works. So there's folks then that can pick that up if there was more turnover in the future. Budget monitoring is probably, I think, one of the important things that has kind of fallen to the side, just with the turnover and the lack of leadership that you've, not so much lack of leadership, but just the inconsistent leadership of in the business services office. So you may have had strong budget monitoring processes in the past, because I think you had a long-term director, long-term staff for quite some time, and then you had a bunch of turnover. But those things kind of have fallen off. And so, we would recommend that you strengthen those again, right? So increasing the frequency of your budget revisions. So a lot of districts do limit those to the interim reporting periods. But if you can build a system because of the size of your district, because of how much everybody has on their plates within the business office, they have multiple roles, right? And you have directors that are working directors. They're not delegating out everything. They have to do quite a bit of work because you're a smaller district. We would recommend trying to build in some maybe monthly budget revision process so that when you get to an interim report, it's essentially just another monthly update. And so there's not quite as much to catch up on. And also it allows your budget to be more real time, right? So rather than waiting from July until, you see your first interim report in December, you've been able to do some of those budget revisions. And so you have a more accurate, more real-time budget in place. Just a reminder though, the budget is just an accounting a planning document. It's not an accounting document, right? So we do want to obviously keep it up to date. That's kind of I think the biggest thing in budget monitoring that we would recommend. Okay. Position control is definitely related to budget monitoring as well, because this is our systems of how we track our folks that are working in our schools and in our departments. And so this is basically where all of this is where the majority of our funds go, right? So we really want to have always, pretty much at every point in time, we want to know exactly what our FTE count is. We want to know by certificated, by classified, by management. We want to know who's funded with restricted resources, who's funded with, unrestricted general fund, who's kind of in the base, who are folks that we cannot ever get rid of, right? Who are folks that are extras. They're funded with there's supplemental services. If we lose those funds, we can't do those functions anymore. We always want to have our pulse on that. And so we want to see some reconciliation happening between and business services. It's a combined responsibility. It doesn't fall on one person in either department. It's really a collaborative process. And so the two departments should work together to maintain that system. And so what we noticed is that this district really needs to redefine those roles between the departments. Okay. For payroll, it's also really ties in closely with budget and position control. That's our three-pronged stool or three-legged stool, I guess, is payroll, budget, and position control, because again, that's where most of our costs are. And so when, as an example, so when we hire somebody, if payroll isn't informed of that, then a person doesn't get paid. And obviously payroll is one of the most important things we're doing in the business office. We want our employees to trust that they're going to be paid on time accurately. So there needs to be some reconciliation between those three, and so payroll is a huge part of that. And it also involves communication with HRs. Also notifying your staff. So if your school sites don't tell HR timely that someone's resigned, that information may be delayed to payroll, and they may pay somebody an overpayment, or there's all of it's related. And so it's really important, again, to clarify those roles, strengthen the collaboration with human resources. Okay. Accounts payable. We did note that you have had a few years of audit findings actually in this area. Talking with your new team, talking with your new folks, I think that I would be surprised finding going in and out. Okay. I don't have a loud voice, so essentially what we're looking for is, you do have a new team, so we want to make sure that they have the tools and the support to run accounts payable and address those findings. I do think that those are going to be addressed. I lost track of my thought process a little bit there. I think that's the main thing. Sorry about that. The mic kind of threw me. Okay. Yeah, I don't have too much in this area. Again, a lot of it's just documentation. Obviously, purchasing is part of accounts payable because that's how the accounts payable process starts. And we did look a little bit into some of your purchasing processes and procedures. And because of the size of your district, you did have a director position. It's no longer filled, to my knowledge. And so those duties have to be reallocated. And so just clarifying who's responsible for some of those duties. We weren't sure if you're warehousing, purchasing assistant, who they reported to, that sort of thing. And so just kind of clarifying where those duties landed. And I'm sure that's probably already happened since we did the report. Okay. Accounts receivable. This is probably one of the biggest areas that we looked at, that we saw internal control issues. We just have one clerk that's pretty much doing all of the processes. And so we just want to use this as a reminder to insert those compensating controls, right? Whether it's supervisory oversight, maybe there's a stop in the process and someone reviews something, or maybe you split the duties in such a way between the two clerks. That's what we would recommend, but your one individual should not control the whole thing. And whoever's making the deposit should not be doing the bank reconciliation. So we saw a little bit of that. And so we would just, recommend some all of our recommendations, most of them actually are specific to internal controls in that section. So I went through this quickly because it's a long report. There's a lot of information. I wanted to leave as much time for the board as possible, but I just also want to remind you that, you know, it does have a lot of recommendations, but we only spent 2 days with the district. It's a limited amount of time. There's no like FICMAT police. Nobody's ever going to come and see if you implemented every single recommendation. It could be that some of these just aren't going to work here. It may be that maybe you implement part of it, or maybe you alter it slightly. There may be things you've already done that doesn't apply anymore. So really what it is in Maria and my experience, the time that we've been in CBOs, in those roles, working in business offices, you know, the districts that we go out when we do these assignments, what we see happening in the field, and we're out a lot doing FHRAs, so those are pretty much 100% process and procedure oriented. And so just we collect that information, try to make recommendations that make sense to us for your district, but ultimately, this is your district, you have strong leadership, and you also have really good staff. And so I would really encourage you to utilize them as you think about how to implement some of these things, and take their input, because they may have some better ideas than we had as well. And I'm happy to take any questions that you might have.
Any questions?
There's going to be a question, but I have a couple comments first. Thank you very much for being here this evening, and this was a very comprehensive report. It was very interesting to go through all the pages and then all the outlined recommendations, which I trust staff will be doing kind of a punch list on these recommendations and getting those. I can identify a couple of these that you've already accomplished and worked on. As you reviewed our maybe lack of procedures, written procedures and things like that, and interviewed employees, did you identify a need or a gap as far as systems or automated systems that we needed to have in place or should have in place, and we lack that? I would like to hear some recommendations in those areas as well of what kind of systems we need to have in place.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I didn't touch on that. So most school districts operate on their county offices' financial software systems. And as a member district of Laco, you're utilizing their financial system, which right now the financial piece is best, but we're still operating in their old HR payroll system, which is called HRS acronyms. And it's way out of date. It's not necessarily the most user-friendly product in the world. They are implementing a new system, HCM, Human Capital Management, I believe, and that is coming to you. So you are limited in terms of your software systems that support your business operations, because you're on the county's product, and the county essentially is that's what they're offering you. It's not a perfect product. I will tell you, there's not a single perfect product in the state of California. So my recommendation is to embrace the product you have, to try to utilize it fully to the best of its capability, and build your processes and procedures around it. That's going to be my number one recommendation. But you may decide, well, we went and we looked at the accounts receivable module, and it just doesn't make sense. It's just too big for what we want to do, because, you know, Laco took a different product that wasn't built for schools and made it work for schools. So you may decide it's not going to work for you. You're happy with what you have, and you can tighten up what the processes or the manual processes and procedures you have. But that's my recommendation, is utilize what you have to its fullest. And then if there are things that don't quite work for you, then you can look for, I would avoid trying to add multiple systems in. It just gets more and more complicated at that point. And what it does is it creates multiple systems that have to be reconciled. So that's my only hesitation with adding more.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. I want to say, was it 4 years ago, we had a similar review in the HR department, and they made similar recommendations as far as the need for standard operating procedures, SOPs. This question is really for you, Dr. Hart-Rodas. Do we have does the district have a shared drive or some type of portal where SOPs and procedures are kept, written procedures? Is there a centralized location for anything like that? Okay, so that's where I think this district really needs to move in that direction and centralize these SOPs by departments, by HR, ed services, all of that. Because like you said, when someone leaves, then what's next? The next person hired should be able to come in, review the SOPs and any training, internal training that needs to happen, and then run with their job.
Yeah, as far as we know from HR, from when they did that, there was nothing left behind that Dr. Landers-Fine was able to find in our office, in the superintendent's office, and within the all of the admin assistants. We have, now I'm going to blank on the name of, what is our procedures? What's the name of our drive?
Workflows and procedures.
Workflows and procedures. We've been building, and by we I mean her, not Ms. Becerra, have been building workflows and procedures in a drive as we've been building things, because for that exact reason. And I know that the other assistant soups have been trying to build something, because as we came along, and I said this to Ms. Lillibridge when we did our interview, I said, I felt like when I came on board 4 years ago that we were a tribe of oral history. Everything was just handed down from person to person, and I couldn't find, well, how do I do this? Well, go ask this person down the hall. So we've been slowly but surely trying to build those pieces in as we go along.
All right, that's my federal agency operation support hat.
Oh, 100%. Where's the handbook on this? Where's the handbook on that? And HR has done a wonderful job. They produced an employee handbook earlier this year.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you. And so we need more of that so that we can not find ourselves in a situation that we were in, because we did have high turnover, but thankfully we have a permanent CBO now. We have a director of fiscal services, and so we really look forward to having, a robust CBO department. And I echo what you say. The staff is great. They want to learn. They want to do it right. We just need to give them the tools and the time to learn it. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Question?
Thank you so much, Ms. Lillibridge, for being here tonight. Really appreciate kind of putting an end cap on, I don't know, for the past 6-8 months, every single conversation with Dr. Hart-Rodas, FICMAT. So I know how hard that you have been working with our district. Thank you so much. I know how hard you have been working with FICMAT to address this issue. I appreciate acknowledging that we need the help, reaching out for the help, and really rolling your sleeves up and getting to what needs to be done. This entire report, of which you just gave an abridged version, thank you very much, has some daunting recommendations. It's a lot, right? And this is an organization where you can't, pause anything and say, wait, no, everything else stop. We have to fix this right now, right? Mm-hmm. How do you envision taking whatever of the recommendations that have been given to us and implementing them effectively? And what does the timeline for that look like for you? Because obviously some things have been implemented. Obviously we see some of those things. Some of these things are longer term. What does that look like for you and your team?
We're going to have them all done by tomorrow. There's 133 recommendations in 30 categories in 8 areas. And Dr. Giroux already made a whole list for us all. This is our punch list.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so that was it. Yeah, that was the easy part. He had that done like a day after we got the report. And so what we've been slowly doing in cabinet, and that's what we did in July, nothing else really, just sit around eating bonbons. And so what we're trying to do is look at what are some of the, for lack of a better way to describe it, low-hanging fruit. What are some of the things we can do easily? You'll notice on the agenda tonight is our budget calendar that Dr. Giroux and the team put together. So what are some of the easy things that we can put into place while we're working, and then looking at what are the things where business and HR have to collaborate on a piece that might be something that we have to work on while we're doing something else. What are things where the three of their departments have to work together to say, well, we used to do it this way. We know that's coming in December, so before we have to start working on it, let's think about how are we going to retool it before we even start the process. And so we need to spend a little bit more time navigating, but it's going to take us probably the better part of a year, at least, right, to really dig. And some of them, when we start looking at them, like Ms. Lillibridge has said, we might get right down to it and be like, that really just doesn't work for us. We're just not going to be able to do that, and we might have to find another way, or just have to decide that well, I know she said we should do that, but we're going to have to find a way around that to service that need a different way. Dr. Giroux?
I was just going to add that because there's 133 recommendations, we also asked Ms. Lillibridge, what should we prioritize? What's the low-hanging fruit, and also what are some of the ones that we really need to focus on because they're that important? Budget calendar was one of those. And also, it's fortuitous, I'm in a FICMAT program, the coaching induction program, so I get to work with Ms. Lillibridge and the colleagues in Sacramento, and throughout the year as we're addressing different things in the budget calendar, I get to work with other CBOs and retired CBOs and folks who have done this work for many years. Part of it will even include position control, where Dr. Landisfine will participate with that too. So it's a perfect timing of that to really work on these things and get that kind of support, continued support from FICMAT, actually.
Sorry, just a final thought here. This is a healthy thing to do for a school district. We know about these pain points. We have felt these pain points over the last few years. And a lot of what was outlined here, we definitely knew, but this is a healthy thing to do for a district. And every department should go through a review every, maybe it's every 5 years or 10 years, whatever the mark is. But this is how you learn and progress and implement new processes. And so I'm grateful for FICMAT. I'm grateful that our district opted to do this. And I look forward to a lot of improvements in the near future or out into the future. Thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. We love doing the management assistance jobs where we get invited in. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Gary.
much. I'd like to take a...
Board President Hammond, I
We
have
have our
one
public-
public
Oh, I'm so
comment
sorry.
for this item.
We have our public comment.
That's what it is.
Melissa Taylor to the podium, please.
Public comment.
Sorry, I have a kid who wants me to put her to bed tonight. So, first of all, I want to thank for their thorough documentation and review of business services. Thank you to the business service department for their honesty. I believe it speaks volume to the morale to feel comfortable being this honest. Had the opportunity to review the entire audit last night, all 74 pages. And speaking as a member of the community who feels informed of what is happening in the district, off guard by the sheer number of problems the audit group found during their review. My gut reaction, along with many...
Ms. Taylor, I apologize for interrupting you. I think it's your phone that's interfering with the
okay.
microphone that's causing the problem. If you can,
Maybe
thank
if I do
you.
this. Okay. My gut reaction, along with many others who read this, that if this was any other organization, people would be fired. And as most of these employees are new, it falls to those who should be leading them. And as many of those people are new, it falls to the board. The following terms fiscal errors, fiscal instability, financial misstatements, weak internal controls, lack of formal procedures, no formal calendar, operational inefficiencies and delays, lack of effective oversight, and undocumented processes appeared multiple times in multiple categories. And just like school board member, I want to call you Maritza, that's not, Travanti just said, audits are essential to show us where we are. They're very healthy. They show us where we're coming from and where we need to be. Dr. Hart-Rodas came into a train wreck of instability due to the previous superintendent Ryan's ineffective leadership. He burned it down, and now we must rebuild. And we have the tools to do it correctly now, and I trust that between Dr. Hart-Rodas and Mr. Dro, you will right this ship. Moreover, what really shocked me from this report was the consistent quotes of lack of transparency and internal divisions and lack of communication between departments. In fact, just tonight, Aaron mentioned consultants were doing the work and not consulting with site leaders. And I know of two leaders of elementary schools who told me that they would much rather have a working PA system than a fence. And that's just one example, because I know we talk about fences, and I know a lot of parents are like, there are other priorities besides fence if we're talking about safety. It seems from the report that everyone is working in a silo and not working as a community, and every part needs to work together. In addition, there's a lot of money from on the table, and the community will expect transparency and communication and accountability for all that spending. I believe the school board must take ownership of this audit. It wasn't pretty, and it's not a time to be defensive or place blame. The report is what it is. Now it's time to fix it. I know that you've already started on recommendations and systems to better our district. I'm just asking that the board invest in any training needed for this department, invest in keeping them here so that they can rectify the many negative findings in this report. It is, as you said, a healthy thing to do as long as the recommendations get done. It's not worth it to just get a report and go, that was nice, and put it on a shelf. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ms. Taylor, I wanted to just ask you a clarifying question. You don't have to come up to the podium if you don't want to, or you can. I just wanted to make sure that you...
I'm sorry.
I wanted...
Board Member Lockerbie, she would need to so that her answer would be recorded.
Beg your pardon? She has to come to the podium. Gotcha. Thank you. I was wondering if you understood that FICMAT, there's the acronyms that I love. They're a Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team, right? Please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a company that usually comes in when a district is underwater. Am I correct? So when something's wrong, then the county sends in FICMAT to fix things. I'm sort of paraphrasing. I hope I'm paraphrasing all right, Miss Lily Bridge. I wanted to make sure that you understood that we called them in before we were underwater. So we're not underwater.
I didn't say you were under. My clarifying on that was I understood, and in the 2 days they were there, what they found was significant enough for me to come in and be like, I think the presentation
Hang
that was
on.
given.
Let me finish my thought.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that you understood that we brought them in and not that they had to come in because of a problem. That's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
I understood that.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I'd like to take a 7-minute recess, and we'll return. Good to go. Thank you very much. Move on to the item, the consent agenda. All items will be considered in one motion. Does anybody want anything pulled out of consent? None. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Specifically, please call the vote.
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Hammond?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Moving on to action, Dr. Zamarip is going to be up for a minute, and we're going to take up the matter of an agreement between Harry Jones and the Monrovia Community Adult School for the purchase of laptops.
Good evening, Board President Hammond, Board of Education. The Board of Education is requested to approve the purchase of 120 HP laptops for instructional use at Monrovia Community Adult School. This purchase is intended to support the educational needs of students in the Monrovia Community Adult School, career technical education, and English as a second language programs. To succeed in various employment training programs and prepare for job opportunities, MCAS, CTE, and ESL students need to learn Microsoft Office. Therefore, MCAS has chosen to purchase HP notebooks instead of Chromebooks.
Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Let's call the vote.
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Hammond?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Up next is a grant, still on deck there, Dr. Z. Grant for a sub-agreement between Pasadena Area Community College District and the Monrovia Unified School.
Yes, the Board of Education is requested to ratify a sub-agreement between the Pasadena Area Community College District and the Monrovia Unified School District. The period of performance of this agreement will be from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. The sub-agreement will allow the district to host K-12 pathway coordinators to improve technical assistance and support to local educational agencies in implementing career technical education courses, programs, and pathways.
Any questions? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Oh.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Ms. Passeri, please call the roll.
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Hammond?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Up next is a facility use agreement between the Monrovia Unified School District and the YMCA of Metropolitan LA.
The Board of Education is requested to ratify a facility use agreement between the Santa Anita Family YMCA and Monrovia Unified School District for the period of July 21st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. This agreement with YMCA will help us support the ongoing training and competition needs of our swim and water polo teams. We have secured an agreement with the Santa Anita YMCA for the use of their pool facilities.
Any questions?
I just have a comment, and I wanted to thank you, Dr. Hart-Rodas, and your team for doing this for our aquatic students. It shows how much you care about making sure that they have access to what they need, and it also shows that you have understood how important that is to the board. So I appreciate you. It's not the best, but it's really good. So thank you all so much for taking the care and concern.
And I'd like to thank the YMCA for opening their doors. So thank you guys. I concur. Thank you for saying that. Entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Sarah, please call the roll.
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Hammond?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Up next is an affiliation agreement between the City of Hope and Monrovia Community Adult School.
The Board of Education is requested to approve an affiliation agreement between the City of Hope and the Monrovia Unified School District beginning August 19th, 2025 through May 16th, 2026. The affiliation agreement allows students enrolled in the Monrovia Community Adult School clinical medical assisting / back office, front office hybrid training program to complete 160 hours of hands-on experience through an internship with the City of Hope. This partnership enables MCAS students to fulfill program requirements while gaining valuable real-world clinical experience.
Any questions?
I just want to say what a wonderful agreement with the City of Hope. That's amazing for our students at the adult school. This is a world-renowned facility, and the opportunity and what they can put on their resumes after that is amazing. So congratulations and thank you to Executive Director of the Adult School, Flint Fertig, John Russell, and anybody else that participated in that agreement. This is amazing news. And they're right here in our backyard, which is perfect.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Ms. Becerra, please call the roll.
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Hammond?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Up next is Dr. Giroux in Business Services, a resolution number 2526-01.
Thank you, Board President Hammond. The Board of Education is requested to adopt resolution number 2526-01 to approve to commit general fund balances for the 25-26 fiscal year in alignment with MUSD's fund balance policy, subject to yearly renewal. The adoption of resolution number 2526-01 to commit portions of the general fund ending balance to offset future deficits. Committed balances are evaluated with each financial report and are part of the 2025-26 adopted budget.
Any questions? Motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Becerra, please call the roll.
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Hammond?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Up next is a notice of completion for Courtney Inc. Dr. Giroux.
The Board of Education is requested to accept the notice of completion for the roofing replacement project bid package number 1 for Brad Oaks Elementary School, Mayflower Elementary School, and Monrovia High School, completed by Courtney Incorporated, and authorize the filing of the notice of completion with the county recorder. Courtney Inc. has completed all work for the roofing replacement project IFB 23-201, bid package number 1 at Brad Oaks, Mayflower, and Monrovia High School. Filing the notice of completion will close out the project, release retained funds, and return a $40,273.52 credit to the Measure MM fund.
Good. Questions? Just a quick,
One quick question. Do we have a timeline as to how quickly we would receive that credit back?
I believe if we haven't received it, I think it would be fairly quick. That's my understanding. I think I saw the notice already, so yeah, I'm pending this approval, but I believe it shouldn't take long.
Okay.
And usually our oversight, which would be, God, the time just went out of my head. They were just here tonight. And, Dixon, thank you. Man, they're old. They checked everything and we're good to go. I just want to make sure.
And our Director of Maintenance, Operations, Transportation, Jonathan Navo, walked with them as well to ensure that was the case.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments?
Just wanted to make sure there was some work that hadn't gotten completed at the high school last year that we put off. So, you know, they didn't get rained on. That was a year ago. Wow, that was a year ago. Just want to make sure that is included.
That's what this
That's what
is.
the high school, Monrovia High School, that's what that work is.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Any other questions, comments? Entertain a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Sarah, please call the roll.
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Hammond?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Up next is Dr. Landisfine, and it's approval of a certificated job description.
Thank you, President Hammond. The Board of Education is requested to approve the job description Teacher on Special Assignment CTE Specialist. Under the general direction of the Executive Director of Educational Services, the TOSA CTE Specialist will provide leadership in the planning, implementation, and ongoing monitoring of high-quality CTE programs, state and federal regulations, grant requirements, and procedures pertaining to the district CTE curriculum. The CTE Specialist will work collaboratively with district and site administrators, teachers, support staff, and community partnerships on the implementation of initiatives, priorities, projects, and events to ensure that the appropriate CTE curriculum and instructional practices occur in CTE classrooms.
Any questions? We have a proposed salary schedule for this.
They would be on our regular TOSA salary schedule, which I think is 195 days, but we edited a little bit this year, so.
Thank you. Entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Becerra, please call the roll.
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Hammond?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Up next is an approval of a certificated job description, District Health Services Supervisor.
Thank you. The Board of Education is requested to approve the new certificated job description, District Health Services Supervisor. The District Health Services Supervisor retitles the District Health Coordinator and moves it to an unrepresented position in alignment with other local districts. The District Health Service Supervisor is crucial for ensuring student and staff health and safety within a school district. This position develops and implements health and safety policies, oversees health services programs, and ensures compliance with regulations. This position also supports student learning by addressing health-related barriers and promoting a healthy school environment.
Questions of Dr. Landisfine?
I just wanted to make sure this is essentially renaming, giving a new title to our current district nurse.
That's correct, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and second. Any further discussion? Sarah, please call the roll.
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Hammond?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Up next is a memorandum of understanding with Monrovia Teachers Association.
Thank you. The Board of Education is requested to approve a memorandum of understanding with the Monrovia Teachers Association regarding employee benefits. This MOU outlines the benefits agreement between Monrovia Unified School District and the Monrovia Teachers Association for the 25-26 school year.
Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I have some discussion. So this isn't opening the negotiations. This is
the
closed.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is the
closed to them.
unresolved issue from the last school year. Yes, that's correct.
And it seems like this has been an ongoing issue. I mean, as long as I remember, it's a big deal, and it's something that's always being talked about and being
We
worked on,
negotiate
so,
benefits every year. Yes.
But it just thank you for doing this. It seems like moving us forward positively, and I appreciate the work and the collaboration.
Thank you.
Yeah, the comment I have is thank you very much to the MTA leadership and all those involved on making this so that it is a very good product for all of our employees.
Yeah.
This was a matter of equity, right? This is to create equity across the board. So I commend Dr. Landesfein and MTA for, coming to the table on this. And I know Mr. Hammond recently at one of the school events this week was approached by an employee thanking us for this change, because it is a positive change for this particular employee. It means more money in her pocket. So,
Right.
And Mr. Hammond has been bringing this up for at least, I don't know, for the whole time I've been on the board.
That's why, I started to say it's been a long time.
So finally, we see some light on this, and I'm really happy about that. And thank you for pushing this forward too.
I'm just glad there was agreement with everybody. I do see how this really helps us in the future.
President Hammond, we are prepared to just, for the public, share what, as requested, just a small, brief presentation.
And Dr. Giroux will comment on this because it does have the money part in it. So this is really
it was
his
a joint
arena.
collaboration between the two departments with MTA. So.
Okay, so this slide shows, it's a comparison of specifically what the district contributes to health benefits. So one of the things that we wanted to provide the board is information about the cost of benefits, not just for our employees, but for our district. And so this shows last fiscal year, the 24-25 fiscal year versus what we're projecting this year. And so, of course, health and benefits do increase, unfortunately. So that's part of what's reflected here. But also, we, in the spirit of making sure this is more equitable for our employees, we're taking on a bit more to make sure it's equitable. But you can see the breakdown between classified and certificated health and benefits. And it's important to note this is a projection. A lot depends on how many employees take which program. But as it was stated already, this is much more equitable. Employees are paying their portion of what they're contributing is directly related to the cost of the plan, which wasn't the case before.
And we should also note that this was within our budgeted parameters for benefits.
Correct, yeah. Something else that we added with the health and benefits plan for this year is an opportunity for, really this is for the employees to save money and as well as the district. So employees who have, when there are two employees in the family that both work for the school district, or an employee who has a spouse who has full benefits with another job, in the past, there wasn't really an incentive to decline benefits. So they would take the benefits here, we're paying for that, but it's redundant. It's unnecessary for both the employee and for the district. And so what we worked with our consultants with the benefits team, and so what they recommend and what we've created is an opt-out plan for employees, and that's only if they have other coverage that they have to confirm. And in essence, that saves, and when they opt out, the employee receives $2,000 in cash as an incentive. And as a district, we actually save $9,272 each year for each employee that does that. So it's a win-win. And so that's something we were able to add in this year's plan. We were advised, many districts are doing this now, they self-insure vision and dental insurance instead of just paying a flat fee no matter how many people actually have claims. And so in every case that we've heard other districts do that, they save money. It's hard to predict how much. I actually was contacting our consultant again today. So we don't know how much, but we feel pretty confident that's going to be a money savings for the district because we're going to self-insure. We're really only paying for the claims that employees actually have. Next slide, please. And so this shows the employee contribution. What you can see is the current plan, this current year, and if you look at that third column, that shows the district is providing a fixed contribution rate, no matter what the plan is, and we didn't have that before. It's also important to note that the Kaiser plan is the least expensive, and so the district's covering the full cost of Kaiser. So that's how that was based upon. So an employee who chooses the Kaiser plan, there's no contribution for that plan. And the other plans, their contribution is based on the actual increased cost of those plans. So that's the equity part of it. The last column just shows what the contribution rates were the previous year. So in most cases, there's a savings for employees. There's a couple that they're paying more because actually the plan costs more. But it's just a way to show. Oh, we also added 2 new plans that weren't available before that offer almost exactly what the other plan provided, but at a lower cost. So the last 2 rows, Anthem Select HMO and Anthem Platinum PPO, are very, very similar to the standard HMO and PPO, but at a reduced cost. So it's just more options for employees. That really benefits them, gives them more options. We're still going to provide the same contribution amount.
Is tenthly monthly, it's just typo? No?
Tenthly, no, because there's 10 paychecks.
10 paycheck, okay, got it.
Yeah, it's an odd term, but that's how that's what they.
No, I got it.
Educators like to complicate things.
Yeah.
Dr. Giroux, I know this is getting a little bit into the weeds here, but open season for benefits starts August 18th? I saw an email.
That is correct. It's
Okay.
open registration starts at 18th. That's correct.
Okay, and it's open for what, a couple of weeks or a
2
month?
weeks.
Or 2 weeks, okay. When do the changes according to the open season take effect?
For MTA and management, they take place immediately.
Oh, it's an immediate change?
Yeah, the new benefits rates are already in the system for MTA, management, and unrepresented employees.
All right, so if they went from Kaiser to one of the other options, when does that take effect? Immediately?
October 1st, right?
Oh, October 1st is when your
Okay,
insurance kicks in.
October
Is that
1st.
that was the question? Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So by early next year, should you have a good picture of what that's going to look like, can you circle back with the board and let us know what the savings ended up being, both for the employee and for the district?
Certainly will provide that, yes.
All right, thank you.
Did you want to make that part of the,
I'll make that part of
Part
my
of the
motion.
motion?
Yes.
that way you for sure get it back?
Yes, thank you, thank you. What would be ample time for you to be able to prepare a report like that? Knowing that October 1st is really when it takes effect.
Well, pretty quickly we'll know what employee, because December is a good,
Okay,
we'll do that for December to bring in
Okay.
the Christmas season, yeah.
okay, and we only have one board meeting in December, so then we'll look for a report there. And that'll be part of my motion to provide the results, the cost savings for the district and the aggregate for employees for the December meeting. That's my motion.
Second with that amendment.
So there's a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Ms. Becerra, please call the roll.
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Sorry, just 1 second. We had already had a motion and a second, so I need somebody to pull those back.
Oh.
Who made the motion?
Yeah, who made the motion?
Michael made the motion, and
So you need a friendly.
Daniel did the
Yeah, it's
second.
friendly amendments.
And I put the
So,
the request in the
Mr.
tasks.
O'Cohen, will you accept a friendly amendment from Ms. Travanti?
Yes.
Thank you.
As will I.
Mr. Gomez-Tagle, will you accept the friendly amendment?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for keeping us
Yeah,
straight.
thanks for catching that.
Thank you.
I fell asleep between the movie and that's what you
I'll call the vote now. Is that
yes,
okay?
please. That'd be great.
Board Member Ocon?
Yes.
Board Member Gomez-Tagle?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Hammond?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
On to future meetings, August the 27th here in these chambers at 6:30, September the 10th, and September the 24th. Under new business, Monrovia Pass meeting will be on Thursday, August the 28th at Brad Oaks. And Labor Day, all sites will be closed on Monday, September the 1st. And Mrs. Travanti has a business.
Thank you, President Hammond. Yes, I do have an item for new business. Dr. Hart-Rodas, I request that you provide the board as soon as possible a plan for our consolidation for middle schools, which is part of the overall fiscal stabilization plan. I'd like to see this done sooner rather than later with that process. I know it's a whole process to do this. There is an assumption in the community that Santa Fe is the one that's going to be closed, but that determination and decision has not been made. But for planning, for families, for staff, for whatever what the outcome is, I think we're better off doing it earlier in the year than later. Thank you.
Absolutely.
On to back to school nights. There is a list of every one of our schools and their back to school nights. I will not read them. And before we adjourn, we will be adjourning in memory. We would like to conclude tonight's meeting by honoring the memory of Kimberly Biggle Dedini, a beloved former teacher and cherished member of the Monrovia community. A proud graduate of Monrovia High School's class of 1998, Kimberly went on to earn her degree from Humboldt State University. She soon returned home to give back to the community she loved, teaching at Santa Fe Middle School for 7 years before moving to Northern California. Kimberly faced brain cancer with remarkable courage and grace. On August the 3rd, surrounded by her loved ones, she passed away. A valiant battle, leaving behind a legacy of kindness, inspiration, and dedication. Her dear friend and fellow teacher, Stephanie Parks, shared, "If I could choose one word to describe Kim, it would be inspirational. Her positive energy didn't just light up a room, it lifted the people in it. Kim inspired those around her to be their best, and the world is brighter because she was in it." Our thoughts and prayers are with her husband, their children, her extended family, and the many friends and students whose lives she touched. Kimberly's passing is a profound loss, and she will be deeply missed by all who had the privilege of knowing her. In her memory, we will stand adjourned.